Howdy guys, welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be going over the two trades I took. So today's Friday. I managed to catch almost 200 points on a Friday, so I can't be mad about that. So let's just go over the two trades I took. One of them was in early market open. The other one was in later New York PM. So let's just hop right into that. So off of market open, what did I expect to happen and what was my bias going into market open? So right off the start of market open, I wanted to see some sort of pull higher. Potentially to this data wick high. I didn't think it would want to push up 150 points just to take that wick, but I really wanted to see some sort of pullback into a higher time frame gap, which was this 5-minute right here. And then I wanted to see some sort of entry model for me. I wanted to see some sort of inversion change in state in order for me to actually take a trade. So what did I do here? I waited for some sort of value gap to show. So once we got this 1-minute gap here, this was the deciding for value gap, whether if we wanted to continue higher or push lower. So I could have taken an inversion off of this level here. I could have, but I didn't because the wicks and the candles were it didn't have great closes. So I was going to wait for a change in the state here. Why would I wait for a change in state? Because it's going to actually validate if we want to move lower, especially in this scenario. So once we get a close below that change in state, I mark out my standard deviation level, and I'm going to target this -1. Why would I target this -1? Because I usually target -2, but why would I target this -1 level? And I put my stop at this for value gap high, inverse high as well. So why would I target this -1 level? Because I typically don't tend to perform well on Friday. So I was just going to go for low hanging fruit. And this was still 75 points here. This was still a decent amount of the pie. So instead of going for this -2 level, I just went for this -1 and we managed to actually hit it. I went decent size here. I went, I think 10 micros here. We actually managed to take another trade in the PM session that caught around 150 points or like 130. So let's just go over why I actually the market managed just to completely dump here, but I was still completely fine with taking this. So let's just go to the second trade I took later in the PM session. So if we're down here, what was I seeing in order for me to take a trade? So we had, I think this was our 15-minute gap up here. This right here was a 15-minute gap above. And why did I manage to actually take a short, leaving this 15-minute gap completely untouched, unmitigated? Because I looked at ES on my other screen over here. I looked at ES and I looked, where is it at? Is it filling any gaps that NQ is not managing to actually fill? And as you can see, this 15-minute gap right here was the one NQ managed not to actually get a fill in. And then you can see we have a big wick lower. Once we got this big move lower, 2-minute change in state, also 2-minute inversion, that's when I actually realized, okay, we do want to go lower. And I kind of frame ran this 2-minute change in state because I was looking on the 1-minute. And why was I looking for a 2-minute change in state and a 2-minute inversion? So you can see these candles aren't really performing and getting imbalances very well. So I wanted to see some sort of decent size for value gap and decent size inversion to actually happen. But I front ran this 2-minute change in state here. Once we got a close below here, I threw in shorts to this -2 level because I marked it out on the 2-minute as well. Standard deviation. Marked it out for this -2. I could have targeted this -2.5 and this potentially later, but I took this -2 and this was overall 160 points here. So it was honestly a pretty clean Friday. I cannot be mad. I'm up 2,275 funded account is looking amazing right now. So this was overall a pretty decent Friday. So this is the end of the video. Hope y'all guys enjoy, and I'll see y'all later.